Our lives are a string of insights, flashes of inspiration that can be the catalyst for new ideas. However, our pace of life these days means we tend to miss some of them completely. I'm Dave Hill, and I'm the host of the Simple Reflections podcast, a fortnightly series of interviews with people from all walks of life. Our conversations are an invitation to reflect on some of the simple insights my guests have had that have gone on to have a profound impact on their lives. So grab a cuppa and a biscuit, join us, slow down for a little while and see what shows up for you. Welcome to the next episode of the Simple Reflections podcast. Today I'm delighted to introduce you to Dr Rani Bora. Rani is a holistic psychiatrist, mental health coach, speaker and author of a book called How to Turn Stress on Its Head. I've known about Rani probably for about 6 months through a number of different sources, and I just thought she would be a lovely person to bring on and bring a medical perspective to what is quite a spiritual topic in terms of understanding how human experience is created. For those of you that have been listening to the podcast for a while, you'll know of my friendship with Dr. Bill Pettit and his views on all of these things. And I'm always intrigued to hear what the medical profession have to say in this space. Rani, thank you so much for joining us.
You are very welcome. Thank you for connecting with me on LinkedIn, and we had a beautiful first chat, and then you invited me to be a guest on your podcast, and I'm delighted to exploring this topic together with you, Dave.
Thank you so much. Um, Most people don't see a link between clinical work and spiritual work. There's sort of two separate worlds for the vast majority of people, whether they are um, practicing in those fields or even looking at it from the outside. And I'm always fascinated um, by people who have a foot in both camps, I suppose. And one of the things that I've seen you describe yourself as is a spiritual medic. And I wondered what that means to you, and how that guides you as not just a human being, but also as a clinician helping people with some really, really uncomfortable parts of the human condition.
Thank you for bringing that up. And I know you made a comment on my post about the spiritual medic, and um, it's inspiring that it's not just me. There are quite a few of us who consider ourselves spiritual medic, and their paths might everyone's path might be different, but there are many medics. I'll talk about medics because I have lots of medic friends. Um, we were not taught any of this in medical school. We were not taught any of this in our higher training with our chosen specialty, and yet we had our own life journey. And at some point, we realized that although the whole point of becoming a doctor in the first place was to heal our patients, we realized soon enough that the illusion we had as a medical student, like, wow, once we become doctors, and we're going to, once we become doctors, we are going to just heal with evidence-based medications and treatments and interventions that we are reading about so much. And yet, when a person presents to us in a clinic, they are so unique. Each person is so unique. And so I have to say, in my case, definitely it has been trial and error. Initially, when I was a junior doctor, I was lacking in confidence. Obviously, I assumed all the people who trained me really knew something that I did not. And this is why they are consultant level. They are consultants, and they have so many titles at the end of their names. So I looked up to them and assumed that that was the answer. And yet, even when I went through multiple um, what we would call mental health conferences and listened to the latest evidence base and looked at it at practice, there was something missing. So I can't remember your original question, but I know that my own healing journey has led me to where I am. And thank goodness, I think I trained to be a coach back in 2007. And at that time, a medic being a coach was very unheard of, right? And in the NHS, you won't see any coaches because maybe the top execs and CEOs might have a coach come to them to talk about strategies, but on a very like a lower level, you won't see many coaches. Whereas now, if you go to the NHS or if you just check out some profiles on LinkedIn, you'll find many people talk about coaches, and there are many health coaches as well. So health coaches has been recognized by the NHS, and there's a designated body for health coaches to support people, say, with chronic health conditions, like for example diabetes, and like to help them make some lifestyle choices. So I know that even if you are a medic and a coach and you are not looking at this dimension, which is our spiritual dimension, there's still something missing. At least for me, I knew that because I didn't train to be a spiritual. I would never call myself a spiritual medic ever because I would be worried people would call me religious, and I would run away from religion. So I never saw myself as a spiritual medic because I thought spiritual, well, not really. I didn't really think spiritual was religion because I knew that I found myself being spiritual, and I knew that I was not religious. So I used to define myself or say that I'm spiritual but not religious, just to say,
Hmm.
oh, don't put me in that camp. I'm spiritual, okay, but definitely not religious. And now it's like, in a way, don't care, I don't care might seem very, oh, what I, something negative, but I don't care much about what people say when I call myself a spiritual medic. I'm not for everyone, for sure. Some people are really not interested in this at all, but I have seen that for healing to happen, you just can't look at mind and body. You really need to consider soul level. You have to, and we talk about being soulful, right? Sometimes, and we just throw in these words, but beyond the words, what does it mean? And so I've been exploring it in my own journey, my own personal journey. I had some, massive what I would call insight, and as to why I have been exploring exactly what you explore and sharing this with my patients and my coaching clients.
Mm, thank you. How how has coming from this perspective changed the way that you interact with your patients?
Well, massively. I think at one point, if I'm not exaggerating it, if I were to tell you that at one point I really wanted to leave psychiatry. I really did because I thought, oh, I can't bring this in. So exactly, it's like oh, I do all this work in my own free time, but when it comes to psychiatry, I can't bring it in because of the evidence base. And now I really realize that no, I didn't see it then. I could still follow the evidence base in a way and yet honor that you cannot leave the spirit or the soul, and dismiss it completely. And I love psychiatry. I love how I work. I practice psychiatry because I know I come from that understanding, and I don't have to preach anything to people, but I don't even need to think that, oh, I need to fix them and make them see about the principles and how life works. But there is something very softening in me, and curiosity, that I know that if I were to just give them the space and just sit with it with people, and people get curious when people are ready, and I think people are ready when they feel safe and when they feel heard, and until they feel safe and they feel heard, they are not ready.
Mm, I love that. Yeah. The more I've explored this space, the more I have lent into the magical power, I suppose, or if I want to use a particular word, of curiosity,
Mhm.
because it comes without judgment in itself. It's a
Mm.
fairly playful, light experience. Um, and we can feel when each other are curious about something. And it allows us to sort of tap in and follow that thread. I almost see curiosity as a key these days. Actually, it's inviting people to become curious, and once they are, right, now the game is on, let's explore from here, because we're going to see something much more deeply and potentially more profoundly, um, you know pick up on some insight that we can't see any other way, or not we can't see any other way, that we it has more space to show up, I suppose. And I love that.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, the word I've been playing with, something similar to curiosity, and I think it takes me deeper, is wonder.
Mm,
Wonder, the sense of wonder. And you know, sometimes we use the word wonderful, and I'm separating them to wonderful or wonder filled. And think about a child. You can say the child is being curious, but there is also that twinkle in a child's eyes, that wonder, and they are, as some people say, away with the fairies. You know, they are
yeah.
really curious, like not just curious, really curious. I mean, some children and just leave them with some maybe out in nature, maybe in the garden or in the woods, and then they are going to just play with a leaf in a like branch of a tree, and they will come up with their own thing, and they could spend hours doing that. And we used to be like that. We used to slow down and really get present because we had this spirit of wonder, and it was so like it was bubbling in the surface all the time. It's still there, but rather than bubbling in the surface, because we are adults and we are sensible adults and we have work to do and we have mortgage to pay, all the stuff and things to do, it's like it's still there, but it's like tuning back in, it's realigning with that childlike wonder. And when we allow ourselves space and then just pause, and it's not a doing, it's more like a allowing, uh,
Mm,
allowing and giving ourselves permission to just wonder at that curiosity. It's like we are filled with a sense of, you know, all the good feelings we are looking for, you know, rather than trying to feel better and so on. It's like we get energized from within because we are tapping into something that already always there, and we forgot about it. We got too sidetracked by everything else illusion called life.
I love that. I love that. When you mentioned the word wonder, my face lit up, because it's been a topic that I've been having fun with for the last couple of weeks, and I'm thinking about, haven't quite worked out how I'm going to do the mechanics of it yet, but I'm thinking about creating um, some wonder walks in Edinburgh,
Ah,
getting people together and just going off and exploring together as a group, and inviting a space of wonder and see what shows up. As I say, early days. Uh, it hasn't made its way out to being shared publicly. But I've just done that now, so I better pull my finger out. Um, but I love that, you know idea of inviting people into a space where they allow themselves to have a more open experience of life and see
mm,
what shows up from there. And I haven't met a single person yet that hasn't enjoyed that opportunity when they've been given it. They might have resisted initially,
mm,
um, or then that's frivolous. That's not efficient. Um, but actually, some of the best ideas that human beings have come from that space. In fact,
mm,
probably all of them have come from that space, uh, and that's really, really exciting.
yeah.
What would you say is exciting you at the moment? What are you most excited about for what you're up to in the world for your, your patients, your clients? How do you see that shaping up at the moment?
Wow, there's so many things when you say excitement. I I I think what excites me is the sense of uh, real hope for people who are struggling. And I'm excited that there's so many beautiful souls I'm connecting with, and we are all supporting one another. Just come back home. And what excites me is that when we have an intention and we like put it out there and say, this is what I would love to create, and this is my message for the world, and this is how I would like to support people, it seems like the right people seem to find you. So what I'm most excited about is the people who come through our door. Me and my husband Suraj, I'm very lucky, very, very grateful that he's also a holistic psychiatrist, and again, very deeply sees this understanding. We are both coaches, and we both our passion is helping people come off medication in a safe way,
Mm-hmm.
and really look beyond the diagnosis. And what excites me is that although there is this news going on that mental health problems are rising, if you check anything, whether it's a newspaper or any local news, radio, everywhere will say mental health problems are rising, the services are not able to like meet the needs. And I'm thinking, wow, like yes, on one hand, it seems like doom and gloom, but what excites me is that the answer is closer, like it is staring at us on our
Mm.
face, and we just don't see it. And that the right people, like when they're, it's like when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So when someone sees something in us, or something we say have like touched them, then they just get it. And they might not even need to see us as a psychiatrist. They might just have like incredible transformation by seeing a coach such as yourself, Dave, because they hear us speak and they're already speaking to you, and they might then see, wow, right, okay, just because you're not a mental health professional doesn't mean you can't help me with my anxiety, that I don't even have to like go on any medication. So because there is this thing like, oh, only the experts know best. And I want people to just wonder, is it really true? What if
Mm.
the so-called experts, again, like some are really well-meaning and some do some amazing work with very minimal use of medication. And I won't say I'm anti-medication, but I know that it's about the judicious use of medication only if like it really needed and for the shortest period of time. And there are so many beautiful tools out there. I would say, like, have you really given that a go? And for informed consent, to make sure that if you embark on that medication journey, you really know what you're signing up for. You really know all the side effects and everything, including any long-term side effects, such as sexual dysfunction, for example, if someone goes on antidepressant, and so on and so forth. And also, like, how easy would it be for me to come off the medication? So as long as someone has got all the information, surely, yeah, go for it. Okay. If it serves you, because again, there's a rule for everything. But I lost my train of thought there.
That's okay.
This is me, sometimes I got to get excited. But what I'm saying is that what excites me is that we might be looking, we are all seekers. Let me put it that way. We are all seekers. Even you and I are seekers. I've been a seeker for
Mm.
a long time. Like, what is the, like, I didn't even know what I was seeking, but I knew that I was seeking a better feeling, peace of mind, that kind of thing. And even like all of us, no exceptions, including psychiatrists, including healthcare professionals, including patients, we are all looking for that peace of mind, that calm. And so what excites me is that you can find that what you're looking for. I mean, that's definitely in within you for sure. Like sometimes you go everywhere and then realize that I've gone everywhere and then realize that it's already here as within. So but the guide can come in all shape and form. It can come in the form of Dave, it can come in the form of Rani, and whoever the guide is in front of you, you can really get a lot of value when you do your inner work, and you know that the guide cannot transform you directly. The guide can support you, and when you do your inner work, and you know that we are all made of the same. We all have the same gift, so to speak. There's something magical happens. Something
Mm,
magical happens. That's what excites me, and in my how I point people back to their creative essence.
that's awesome and so encouraging to hear. I set up as a coach in order to try and help um, more veterans who are struggling. And what I was noticing for them is there were pinch points of expertise, and you either needed to be really ill right now to get to the front of the queue, or you had to wait a long time to work your way up the ladder to get to that point, at which point you probably got quite ill along the way. That
Mm.
seemed to be the way of things. And I got really curious about what can we do at grassroots level,
Yeah.
at just an understanding of how we all tick. And if more people understood that, shared that amongst themselves in their own language with nothing clever required other than just an understanding of how experience is created, that love and awareness is probably more than good enough to get us started, then maybe less people join that sort of conveyor belt up the ladder to see the experts. It takes the pressure off the experts, and hopefully some of the more acute cases get there faster. And most of the noise doesn't make it there because it's self-soothing, for want of a better term, by people supporting each other. Um, what I've noticed is the guys, and it's mainly guys. My regiment, when I was in it, was an all-male thing. It isn't anymore, thankfully. Um, the guys that have been on a journey, come through something for themselves, seen things differently for themselves, now know how to be of service to others and are doing it freely. Um, that is amazing because that was what I had in mind, and also what you've just described in terms of there is a role for everybody in this. Um, but most of the time we frighten ourselves out of it and back off and go, "Oh, I'm either too sick to be helped by my loved ones, or I can't tell my loved ones how sick I feel because I'm worried that they'll worry," and we end up with this sort of messy bit in the middle where people get lost.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, isn't it? Like, it's the self-awareness bit that we are talking about. I'm not saying that you need to take the burden,
Hmm.
and think that, oh, you need to hold this person, and it's your job. I'm not saying that at all, but we sometimes think that what we know is not good enough. That's all I'm saying. And somehow we freak out because we think what the person is presenting with at the moment is too much. And of course, I think it's very important to like follow our own wisdom and say, right, this person needs this support at this time. Absolutely. But for like you say, milder cases, or where people might be borderline, like more borderline, they're still okay, they're functioning, but something's not right. Those are the times that anyone can help for sure. Yeah. And I know that when people don't get any support at that time, when they, for example, don't meet the criteria, they get upset. And I have had so many. I'm not a camp psychiatrist, I'm not a child and adolescent psychiatrist, but I have had many people talk about how they had to they had to wait until they were worse off. And some of the comments people make about the criteria, and I'm not even going to mention one of the shocking things I heard about what a receptionist at the camps said to the mother about, has a child done this yet, kind of thing, just to gauge the severity. And I've had also heard how children used to complain that they are waiting. So, oh, my self-harm, my cutting my wrist is not enough. So they are, in a way, they feel there's a challenge for them to do something even like stronger to show that they
Mm.
really mean business. They really
Yeah.
mean it, and only then they will get help. And the sad thing is actually that works, because suddenly everyone is panicking about the risk. But what if, even when before that happens, and we have some guides where they had been troubled themselves in a way, and they're like a peer mentors and say, we get it, we get it, and this is why we are here to share our stories, and then share a bit about what you have seen. And this is why what you exactly what you said works, why AA works, right? We have
Yeah.
got like lots of evidence about AA, and why AA really works, because like people have been there. There is something about safety, about being non-judgmental, having the space to just talk about it, and just listen, and really know that there is no rush. It's like one day at a time. I think the ethos is, can you not drink alcohol just for today? Yeah. So that kind of ethos is like, yeah, I can do it. I can do it just for today. I'm not going to drink. And if there was a space and there was a guide where we were able to explore with wonder, with curiosity, like, what if everything my mind is projecting at the moment, everything, my experiences, of course my experiences, the memories coming to me about what happened in the past, all the trauma, everything, yeah, they're my experiences, they are pretty scary. And what if there was a guide who held a space for me and really showed me that it's okay to sit with even these feelings, with these memories. They are really uncomfortable, and I really want to numb my experiences straight away because they're so painful. But if, and I don't want to do it on my own, I don't want to sit with my experiences on my own, but if there was this wise this wise guide who knew more than me that I can't see at the moment, but but they can, and they have this understanding. They sit with me, and they really show me with love and understanding that it's okay to feel what I am feeling, not to try to dismiss it, to distract myself, to resist it, and yes, to use any techniques I can. If you want to use tapping, because I also teach people tapping, anything to ground the body, because we are off in a, like, what happens is like is a mind is a thought storm, we call it, is a mind hijack we have, and most of the time we are living above the head. And what might be helpful in like sitting with a feeling is allowing the, like, having more like some grounding techniques for the body to feel safe, because what's happening is we are feeling in the physiology that I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling scared, and then we can't seem to deal with those sensations. So anything like a breath work, anything to hold the space, breath work, any Tai Chi, meditation, anything, is not necessarily that technique. All the people think, oh, every time I do meditation, I calm down. Well, is it really the technique, or is it just like, is allowing you to be more present?
Mm.
And I feel the same with the tapping. It allows people to be more grounded. Same with the breath work. It's like the body is not going through fight or flight or freeze. The body realizes, oh, it's safe in this moment to get present. And then as we do that, it seems like the energy block that we're experiencing, because it's all the energy block that we might be experiencing, something seems to dissolve very slightly, and the energy seems to be able to flow more easily, and then we are able to get more curious and just listen a bit better, than just listening for this or what I think I know, or threat everywhere. So again, this excites me about what's possible when we have the space, when we have the guidance, and are reminded again and again that that main thing is that I am not broken at a spiritual level. Again, let me be very specific, because people might think, okay, what about the form level? Yes, form level, we can be broken. We can have a broken bone. We can even say that, yes, my personal mind, I feel broken, like we feel like my heart has broken when when the love of a life goes away or something happens, right? So we use this metaphor of broken heart. But actually, the heart is not broken, right? But that's the metaphor we use. So we can use the metaphor if we need to, like, oh, I feel broken. But at a spiritual level, because it's formless, we cannot be broken, period. Period. Like, can anyone say that, oh, my spirit is broken? How do you prove or disapprove it? But all I'll say is that what is formless, we can't break. We can break something in form. We can break a personal mind. This is my bottle, by the way. It can be broken. But I think when the fundamental of all of this is that there is this belief, deep-rooted belief that somehow I'm not good enough, somehow I am broken because of the trauma that happened, because of all the stuff that happened or is happening. And I just invite people to get curious about, well, I know this is a meaning I have come up to, like my conclusion because of all of this is I must be broken. But what if, as a possibility, the spiritual dimension of me can never be broken, period.
Mm. It's such a huge point, and it's not even on most people's radar. Um, I was honored, I suppose, humbled at the weekend to be invited by Masha Liashenko to join her and Rob Cook delivering 3 seminars to people in Ukraine who are trying to help those struggling with post-traumatic stress, the realities of still living in a war zone, all of those kind of things. And that was the invitation we gave them. Imagine just imagine what it would be like if your spirit was unbreakable.
Yeah.
You don't have to believe us. Just be curious about that. Sit with that for the duration of the 3 2-hour seminars that we did with them, and see what shows up from there. Um, there is no denying that there's a lot of pain and suffering going on in the world at the moment. But if more people knew about the fact that their spirit was unbreakable, they they have a much greater chance of living with more grace through all of that and feel more steady in themselves.
Yeah, and we are all looking for meaning. We are there's a saying that we are meaning making machines or creatures. We are constantly making meaning. Like, what does this mean? And there are different levels of meaning, and we know it ourselves. Sometimes it's everything is neutral, and we give a meaning to that. And sometimes it might be just a petty meaning, and it's not important because it's a small thing. Like, yeah, we have a given meaning. But we know that the lower the level of meaning we give something, the more negative we feel. And as we see the same thing and we are wondering, the same event, and we are wondering, and then we are choosing, and because the sun is out and we have all these things, excuses like, I'm feeling best and this has happened, and we might see that we are giving it a higher meaning. And Viktor Frankl, who is as everyone knows, a very famous Jewish psychiatrist, and in a beautiful book, Man's Search for Meaning. And we are always searching for a meaning, and we have a choice as to give an event a lower level of meaning based on our body, at a sensation level. Oh, I'm experiencing this. That means I'm going to live with chronic PTSD for the rest of my life or something. Or at a higher level, that perhaps I don't see this as a smelly gift. I call it a smelly gift, something bad happening. Perhaps I don't see it as a smelly gift at all. About what if there is growth for me here? What if there is a um, spiritual growth for me? What if there is something for me to learn that will take me to another level that I haven't wanted to look at because I was scared or whatever? And so there's always any meaning we can make of something, and we have this gift of thought. We can
Mm,
decide anytime whether we want to give it a lower level meaning or whether we want to give it a higher meaning. We have a choice, Dave. And you and I know sometimes I give something a very negative meaning and I see what I'm doing, but I'm like, oh, in this moment, I'm just like, oh, it's not fair. And I know it's going to wear off, and I can like can almost be like a child sometimes and put my having a tantrum. I say, no, no, I didn't get my chocolate, so I'm going to like keep screaming kind of thing. And at some point, like actually, it's not fun, you know. No,
mm,
I'm not attracting anyone, and no one is hugging me because I'm having this adult tantrum. Actually, if I just sit and allow myself to forgive myself, not to judge myself, because I'm human, right?
mm,
I do have this lower level of um, experiences and feelings and meaning and behavior. You know, sometimes I regret what I've done, for whatever it is. Like, you know, if I'm on a health journey and I just had a snack and I know that is not good for me, then I might beat myself up, right? And the more we are able to forgive ourselves and judge ourselves less and give ourselves a little bit more love, we also are able to do the same for our loved ones. But it always is an inside job first.
mm. So true. There's, it always looks like there's no choice until we catch on. And it's that awareness to be open to how else might this be, inviting ourselves to be uh, gentler with ourselves, and see what's possible from there, that then allows us to take that choice and then forgive ourselves. Um, and self-forgiveness, you know, there's a whole thing, and that's probably a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
Um, but we tend to find ourselves way too busy in life to even consider the idea that there may be something that we can help ourselves out with by forgiving ourselves for things that we've either thought in the present moment or in the past that we are still sort of innocently carrying around as baggage. It's it's such a fascinating topic, and you know I know that I'm always going to be a student of it. And that's, you know, that in itself is exciting for me. There's always something else to see, to learn, and that I'm a continual work in progress. Um, Being comfortable with that, knowing that there's never going to be a finished article, actually, because at some point I'll cease to exist, um, and I will still be a work in progress right up until that moment. That's fine by me, absolutely fine, because it means that I'm open to exploring and seeing what's new.
Yeah, anytime you think, right, I have arrived, I can put my flag down and I can put my pen, then the universe will say, all right, you think so? Let me send you a test.
Yeah, trip you up,
Yes.
smash your face on the floor. Oh, right,
Oh,
where
that has
where
happened to me
next?
multiple times.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That still happens. Thankfully, it happens less regularly, but
Yeah.
and maybe I don't trip quite as far. But yeah, it's living from that space, operating in that way more routinely for myself first, actually is the biggest gift I can give anybody, whether that's my family, my clients, myself. Um, if I start at home with me,
Yeah.
everything else ripples from there. And that is huge, because I'm just one of 8 billion people on this planet. If all 8 billion people saw it that way, there would be a lot more harmony in the world than there is right now.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't even have to be all 7 billion people. It can be like
Yeah,
even one third or even less than one third. You can see that it will, it will massively change everything.
yeah. It's the ripple effect of it all.
Yeah.
Um, it's a wonderful conversation to be a part of and see where those ripples go.
Mm.
And for me, it's conversations like the one we're having today that is boosting my understanding, allowing me to see and think in a different way than I would have done half an hour ago.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, me too. I love this. I love these conversations. Like when you said how has your psychiatric practice changed, it doesn't seem like work so much now.
That's
It's like the conversation we are having because we are having a very deep conversation. Of course, I still do assess, the first one is like going through the history and everything. I can do that and go to a deeper level. And what this allows us is like, yeah, you see that my patients see that I'm human too. I might be there, I might have a role as a psychiatrist. They might have a role, a temporary role as my patient in this, or if we're a coach and a client, we have roles. But we are beyond roles. We're beyond forms. We're beyond our thinking. We're beyond this body. And so once we know that, wow, we seem to play a limited game in life with unlimited stories, and there's so much more possible, and just being filled with wonder and curiosity, and be humble enough to say, what if I don't know this? Rather than, oh, I know this is so bad. What if I don't know? What if it's okay to have that uncertainty because we don't know the whole thing? And seeing something good even when it seems like there is nothing to be grateful for at all.
I can't remember what it was I was listening to the other day, um, but gratitude was the sort of driving force through it, and the person speaking just invited anybody that was listening to be grateful for the fact that they were alive and the wonder of that in itself. Even if everything else is absolutely rubbish at the moment, we are here to experience life. That is a gift in itself, no matter how uncomfortable that life might be in that moment. And in that lies possibility for other things after that. I remember when my marriage broke up, crikey, 8, 9 years ago, I felt grateful for feeling as rubbish as I did because in the year or two previously, I'd lost a number of friends who aren't here to feel anything anymore. And I
Mm.
felt grateful for the fact that I could feel as crap as I did, which is which is slightly odd. I felt slightly odd about it, but it also gave me great comfort at the same time. And and it propelled me on this journey to learn more and more and more about how that shows up, how that plays out. Um, you know, George Pransky said that if we could be have gratitude for the highs and graceful in the lows, we'd have a more comfortable journey through life. Now I've butchered that as a quote, but that's the rough gist of it. Um, it's so true.
Yeah, yeah. I just love it. I love what your experience because you can't manufacture that. No one else can say, right, Dave, I'm writing this down as a technique. So next time I have that, I am going to make sure I do that. It doesn't work that way. But I'm sure what happened to you, or I'm assuming what happened to you was more of an openness, more of a I don't know what to experience kind of thing, and then it showed up. It
Mhm.
showed up, right? And the other day I had read something in the lines of like you want a direct channel to God, experience that energy of gratitude. I said, okay, the direct channel to the divine. Okay, it's like, oh, the line is always busy. Every time they say ask God for help, and every time I say, hey God, where's the gift? What did you say? You promised me, and then look, immediately it's like blocked. It's like, sorry, it's like engage. And next time, just see when you are just like more in a what I call God feeling. Okay, so rather than good feeling, listen for a good feeling. I just cross out a O and I say God feeling, because we know immediately God feeling is just like a lighter feeling, like a heavier feeling. And if we were to, anytime we want to ask God something or speak to God or have a conversation with the divine, then perhaps a God feeling, because then a God feeling would clear up the line. And I think gratitude is like a God feeling, like suddenly, like you say, oh, right, God doesn't talk in words necessarily. It might not, but I seem to feel better anyway. And knowing that, and this is the other thing I say to people, Dave, like when people say, God, why not helping me? Like, help me create something. I want to create something. Like, we are always creating, always creating our experiences, our personal life, our reality. But it seems like someone else is creating it for us, right?
Mhm.
We think like, oh, but this is happening, this is happening. No, our experience of life is all internally generated. This is how the generator works. It's all internal. Yes, stuff happens and we have an experience of life and it happens through us. And I say that, look, God is doing God's bit. God is always turning the handle. There are two handles. God is always turning the handle. God is saying, buddy, I've been waiting for you. Like, no, I don't feel like it today. I'm feeling a bit worse off. I wouldn't go for the walk, although I know it's good for my well-being. I wouldn't go for a walk. I say, okay, but whenever you want to, pick up wherever you left it, I'm here, buddy. But it's like, but no, God, you see, like it's miserable and so on. We are creating that experience too. We are not just creating the happy experiences, but we like all the sad experience. We are creating all the experiences through the gift of mind, thought, and consciousness. It's a beautiful gift. And once we know that we are powerful creators of our reality, and God, in a way, made us in His image. And again, I'm talking about a non-religious God. We are made in the image of God. So it's in the Bible, and I am not a Christian even, but I have read that phrase, and it makes sense to me. We tell ourselves that I'm not powerful. I'm a victim of life, and we have created that experience. Stuff happens to us. No one can ever say that did not happen, or you should not feel bad. And it's human to have those experiences, every experiences. And we can't say, oh, I'm a creator, I'll only have only good experiences all the time. No, it's impossible, because we are meant to be like really playing this game of life as a child. We're getting all muddy. We get all muddy, and sometimes we clean up and sometimes we all get muddy. But the more we know that, wow, I have got this divine gift of mind, thought, and consciousness, I am very powerful. Even when I'm saying I'm not powerful, I'm using my power to create that sense of powerlessness, and I'm saying I'm not powerful. And so the more we just be in wonder, say, I don't feel powerful, but I'm okay to play along. And here in this podcast, and just listen to what Dave and Rani is saying and see that as a possibility. What if I can take ownership of my experiences? These are my experiences. No one else has to validate my experiences. I can validate my experiences and take ownership of my experiences. I'm feeling really, really angry right now. I'm feeling really, really upset, rather than saying, oh, I should not feel angry. Where is that coming from? No, at this moment, I forget about the shoulds and should nots. In this moment, I am feeling angry. And let's take ownership of that as a starting point, because only once we have a starting point, an experience, allow ourselves to have a felt experience, and allow ourselves to have those some mechanisms to feel safe, then only then we can look at like what choices have I got, and I want to like perhaps ring up Dave and speak to him, or speak to my loved one, or go and see my therapist. But when you take ownership, the healing has already started. You've already
Yeah,
started.
yeah, that's so true. Ronnie, thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun. And I think your final invitation to the listeners to think about the what if, how else they might see things, is a great place for us to leave things today. Um, what have you guys got coming up in the next few months that you'd like to share about?
Yes, when you talk about excitement and what am I excited about, me and my husband, we are launching a community for anyone who might be struggling with some kind of mental health problems. It doesn't have to be massive. It can be massive. It can be less messy, but someone who really wants to see how they can really have a deeper connection with the divine self, and at the same time realizing that in this world of form we have all these challenges, right? Like a diagnosis or this treatment is not working, and someone might be with a therapist, for example, and or they might do their own work, but there's something about being in a community and being supported by two healthcare professionals who have really done their own work. Two psychiatrists, holistic psychiatrists to be precise, who have done their own work, inner work, and it's going to be a mainly like a life coaching community, twice a week coaching community, and there's a lot of support from one another. We don't want to make it content heavy, but it's a place where we can explore these kind of conversations in a with a non-pharmacological intervention, and really for us to help guide you be a better version of yourself. And that's coming up in September. We are launching it on my birthday, which is the 19th of September. And I know you said, Rani, do you have anything that I can share? And I say, no, no. I think that I am less into whistles and then like, oh, look at this. I used to do those, like, ads and everything, and now it's like I just share from my heart. I know it's coming. We are creating it with love. We are co-creating that. Suraj and I are co-creating it with God, with the universe. And if anyone listening to this is interested to find out more, just contact me directly. I'm available. I'm on social media, and you'll find a link to my, I think, email and website and everything here, right, Dave?
Correct. Yes, I'll put all of those links in.
Thank you, thank you. This has been a delight. Can I just say, Dave, um, I did not know you before we connected on LinkedIn, and then you and I got on a call, and you shared what you do. Then you shared with me the videos with about the veterans, and you, Bill Petty, Judith, and another person sharing about the three principles understanding. And I know that you are doing massive service to the world of veterans. So I want to acknowledge you. I know that because of you and you doing your own inner work, you are leaving the world a much better place. Every conversation you have just as this will inspire people to live their best self, and realize that yes, I thought about all of this, and I was even thought I was so broken that I was just about to give up. But thankfully, because of what I heard in Dave's conversations in a podcast, it has given me value and meaning in my life. So I just want to acknowledge you, and for how you are bringing, again, we talk about ripple effect, how you are in a way giving the veterans and many, many more people, not just veterans, really this sense of hope, not like a false hope or someday it might happen, but something to be really hopeful for from the within. Yeah, so I thank you for your service to humanity.
Oh, thank you so much. That's very kind of you to say and to take the time to do so. Um, I am always in awe of people like yourselves who have a very strong um, clinical background, who are then prepared to step outside of that slightly and open the door in conversation, um, to looking at things more holistically. And thank you for your bravery in doing that. I have no doubt that that is there's going to be more and more and more people doing that over time, and we'll end up with hopefully a system that runs more smoothly, looking at the whole person, not just individual bits along the way. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. It feels like in this case I have no choice. It's my divine assignment from God.
We'll give him the credit. Rani, thank you so much. It's been an absolute joy. Thank you for joining us today. If you've enjoyed the conversation, feel free to subscribe and join me and my new guest next time. If you're interested in the work I'm doing, or you think I can be of service to you or your organisation, please email dave@simplicityofmind.co.uk. Remember, see if you can find time to slow down and reflect. Those simple ideas might be worth listening to. Take care, and I hope you can join me in a couple of weeks.